Welcome to Escuela del Sur. We are with a special guest from South Africa, Durban, Sips. Welcome to this interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm glad you accept.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah. But there's the important things, they're waiting, It's like the
What the
movies.
world?
Yeah. No, thank you for being here. I think it's maybe something I waited a long time ago because you have a lot of experience. You have a lot of competition in your body. You have an interesting philosophy we're sharing here in the podcast, how you see the gymnastics like a coach. And we start with the first question.
All right.
Who you are? What is your background?
Well, my name is Siphesihle Biyase from South Africa in Durban, born and raised. And I'm an ex-South artistic gymnast, and yeah, now I'm just currently a coach.
How long you were here in Dubai?
4 years now. 4 years in Dubai, and yeah, 31.
31 is it? You are
Yeah.
at the best moment.
Oh yeah, there's some good moments.
Yeah, great. And do you like Dubai? How is Dubai your life here?
It's nice. It's good. It comes with its own challenges, but of course everything does. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah, perfect. Please tell me about your background, like in the sport and gymnastics. How you start, when gymnastics touched your life in the beginning.
Well, I started gymnastics around 6 years, 6 or 7, when I was 6 or 7. And yeah, I started at a local club and started with easy monkey gymnastics, all that stuff, the basics. And I think I fell in love with it after my first competition, where we competed like a jump star. It was more like a fun competition for the kids, and I won a gold medal from the first competition. And I was like, yeah, I think maybe I'm good at this. And then from then I carried on, I moved forward, and at my first national, when I think I was 8 when I had my first competition outside of
So
the
young.
city. Yeah. At my first nationals, I think I was 8 or 9. And yeah, for me at that time, it was just so like having fun and just being there basically. And then the longer I stayed in the sports, the more I wanted to do more, When I was growing up, you start off with the easy stuff, and then you look at the big boys and they're doing like double flips and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I want to do that one day. And yeah, and then I just kept growing with the thing, up until my last competition. Yeah. No regrets.
No regrets. This is nice. Do you remember the name of your club, your first club?
Yeah, my first club was Pinetown Gymnastics Club.
This is in Durban.
This is in Durban, yeah. That's the only club I competed for as well. And yeah, that's the only club I competed for. I don't like changing. Yeah, I competed for Pinetown, and then a few years later, represented the States. And then we did nationals, and then my first international competition was not international, actually, Intercontinental Africa Championship. So that was the first one was in 2010, and my first international competition was World Championships in 2013. That was in Brussels. And then the following year, the second biggest event was the Commonwealth Games. And that was my last, that was my last big competition. And then the year later, we was getting ready for Africa Championships and trials and all of that. And yeah, I had an accident. And that was it. Yeah, that was it. And then I had a lot of small events in between, like the World Cup in Germany, and
This was in Düsseldorf or
it was in
Dortmund?
Cottbus,
Cottbus.
yeah, Cottbus, and yeah, that was 2013 to 2014 was basically the longest season myself and the team have ever had.
It was hard.
Oh no, it was just so long because it was like competition after competition. Because we did nationals in 2013, and then a few weeks later they announced the national team to go to World Champs. And from World Champs, I came back, I had to get ready for trials for Africa Championship the following year.
I mean, the calendar was very
It
charged.
was very tight. Basically, events after events. And yeah, I remember that one time after Commonwealth Games, because I went nationals, World Champs, and then trials in December for Africa Championship. And then we had the little Christmas break, and then on the 2nd of January, back in the gym grinding. And then in March, we had our Africa Championships, which was luckily held in South Africa, so we didn't have to travel. And then we had nationals around July. And then after that, they announced the Commonwealth Games team. And then we had to get ready for that. And then by the time I finished with Commonwealth Games, I think I took 2 months off.
Wow.
I just took 2 months of holidays, literally no gymnastics, nothing. Because from the year before, just season after season, competition after competition, like I didn't have time to rest. I didn't have time for rehab and fix my injuries or get a new skill. But when I took the time off, that's when I was like, okay, I've detoxed. Now I'm ready to get back again. And then I was getting ready for Africa Championships.
This was in?
This was end of 2014. That's when I took my 2 months break. And then beginning of 2015, we were all back in the gym. And then getting ready for Africa Championship. That was 2015, April. We had our trial.
The country?
In South Africa.
South Africa
Yeah.
you was the host.
Yeah, and of course, that was the year of the Olympics as well. So everyone was like angling for the spot. And unfortunately, the trials never happened because we had an accident on the way to the competition. So that was cancelled. And yeah, nothing happened in that year until like a little bit later where they had competitions, but I had to watch from the screen.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, my experience with gymnastics has been a blessing, and I've zero regrets, and everything I've done in the sport and for the sport has been great. Yeah.
Who was your journey when you was in this back-to-back schedules? Who managed your calendar? The federation decide you will go to all these competitions?
It was basically our coach Jesse. Yeah, he was on top of everything. Like the whole journey, I'm not gonna lie, it was hard because you'd be like in the gym and everyone else is learning new skills, but because I have a competition, I was one of the guys who was in there at least twice a day for training. Other guys
from what hour to what hour?
Usually in the mornings we'd have like a 2-hour session, which was conditioning mostly, and then we'd have 3 hours in the evening from 4 to 7. And yeah, it was amazing that like I look at it now and I think like I'm impressed and surprised that I managed to
how many things you did
to muscle through all of that. And like we had a really good coach, a good support system. Our gym manager was always there to help out, and the coach is always there. Like I'm not gonna lie, some days were frustrating. You know, you're like, I'm not getting this right. It's not happening. And then some days are just bad, and you just have to look past it and keep pushing forward. You know. But yeah, I'm grateful to have had a coach like that, and to have had a good support system. Like everyone around the gym was always there. helping, supporting, and it was I had a good support system. Yeah.
Nice. And how many days a week you train?
Well, I basically trained every day except for Sunday.
Sunday
So
was
6 days
for
a week. And then on Saturday, we used to have like a 4-hour session. And then on Friday as well, you used to have a 4-hour session. And then any other day, it was three hours. And then depending on if we're on season, then we'd do two sessions, one in the morning and then one in the evening. Yeah.
What was your favorite event?
Wow. I loved playing on pommelos.
Pommelos.
Pommelos, yes, everyone's worst nightmare.
What was the more difficult skills you achieved?
It was an E flop. I remember I used to love playing with that, and I was learning moves and all of that. But some of the skills that I got quite late in my career, and I wanted to showcase them on our competition. But then, yeah, I feel like in my whole timeline in gymnastics, I started off okay, and then I started peaking, and then the accident happened, and then I kind of never got to showcase the skills that I was working on, because that gap from 2014 to 2015, that was when I was like hungry for new skills, hungry to like do something new, you know. Like I had a whole brand new routine set up, and yeah, it's kind of suck. I never got to do these skills, but I still play around with them.
Yeah, I saw you sometimes. You're the first thing you touch is
I
the
still play
pommelos.
around. So pommelos was by far one of my favorites. And it's funny that how I fell in love with it as well. It was the one app that everyone in the gym hated. And
it's in all the world. The training coaches say, "Hey, punishment, go pommelos." It's like, why?
Like for other people, some would say, "Oh, pommelos is punishment." And then there's me. It's like, yes, this is a blessing. So I would really enjoy pommelos, because I remember even from a young age when I was still learning circles. We used to be like this massive group. It was a mixed group of your high performance, your senior gymnasts, your juniors, and your level 10s, your level 10 gymnasts, which was kind of fun, to be honest, because you had me who's like, Pablo, something new. And then you've got like the older guys who are like, we hate this, but we do it because we have to. And that's when Emrys was still my coach at the time. And he used to have pommelos, and then we used to play this game where when someone goes on, it's like add-on. So someone goes on, you do circles, and then someone has to top that. And then if you don't,
you start to do a scale.
Those
difficult.
There was a punishment. And yeah, it was never always fun. But from then I was always like curious, like how are these guys doing this? How are they doing it? So I'll just every day for 20 minutes run pommelos, circles, travels, and all of that. We even used to make jokes about how everyone circled. Like you have one guy who's got his hands flat on the pommelos, and then you have other guys who are like circling like this.
No way.
Almost on their fingertips.
We can describe this. It's like on your fingers.
Yeah, like almost like that.
Floating.
Yeah. And I remember that guy because they used to call him like you know how you get a pickup in South Africa, you pick up trucks, they just automatically 4x4s. I'm like, look, there's a 4x4, they're loose now. And we came up with like stupid names and all of that. But those are really fun. Those are really fun times with the team and everything. And yeah, and then the older you got, people dropped out, and some of us carried on and so on.
And who Emrys entered in your life? What was the first time you saw the face of Emrys?
Jeez, the first time I saw Emrys, I think that was like my second competition. And I was I think probably like 9 or something.
A little Sips.
Yeah, I was like tiny, and then everyone knew who Emrys was. Like Emrys, this guy's produced the best gymnast in Durban, you know.
A
Like,
judge, also international judge.
coach and judge. So everyone knew Emrys. To be in Emrys's class was like
It must to be good.
yeah, you have to be like you have to be good, and to be in a team, you're like that's when you're like, yeah, I've made it. I'm in this team. So and yeah, so since I think I was 9, and I didn't train with him for years and years until because there was one thing that I never got right in my gymnastics career. One of the requirements, because Emrys was like, you need to be able to do this and this, back handspring, back tucks, and this, back layout. It's like tumbling was fun.
Detection. It's like a
tumbling was fun, and then flexibility, I was okay.
So.
Yeah, I was okay. I mean, I got tortured when it came to stretching. and then there was one skill, a press handstand. I'm not gonna lie to you. At one point, being in the national team, I was probably the only gymnast who couldn't do a press.
No way. And you do rings.
I did rings. Everything that requires me to do a press to handstand, I would swing it to handstand.
No way.
So on rings, I didn't have a press to handstand. I just had giant to handstand and all of that. So on P bars, I used to be like, L sits, kind of like straight in the body, just like kind of like swing it up. Hopefully,
that means you find your method to define.
I did find a method, but it always upsets everyone else.
No way.
Everyone was always upset. Like, you're the only senior gymnast who can't do a press. What is wrong with you?
Or maybe the grease in your shoulders. I don't know.
It's just one of the skills that never clicked until way later in my career. It's like, hey, I can do a press now. And then it was one of the skills that I got, and then I was like, maybe it's time to let go.
And when you saw Emrys in the competition, what happened?
Competitions. I think when I was younger, I took everything very light. I just got out there and just did what I could, do what I've been practicing. Growing up, I didn't feel the pressure as much. Like I was very easy with everything. Like, we're competing tomorrow. Ooh, excited. Hope I win, you know? And then when I got older, and I don't know, I guess it was part of growing up when I realized, like, okay, I got nationals, and this is a big deal. And like, I'll be under a lot of pressure. Like, I'd feel like I don't want to fail, I don't want to fall, and I don't want to mess up the competition. You know, like when we did nationals, the situation was not as intense because I always looked at it as I've made it this far. I'm competing for my state, which is province. I'm like, I don't want to mess it up. I'm just gonna get out there and smash it. And then when I got to national, like the squad level, where what I do is gonna influence the whole team. So that's when I used to stress out a lot. Like I'll try to come up with means and ways to try and keep myself calm and collected and just get out there and do something good. Because the one thing that sucked about being in the national team, well, not really sucked, but the pressure was the first competition, the team qualifiers. You have to get out there, you do your best. And most of the time we would do safer routines so we don't risk
your body. Yeah.
Not just the body. Like for me, when I competed for South Africa, I always thought of team first. Like I want to get the good score so I can contribute to placing somewhere as a team. And then once that's done, then you move over to
Individual level.
your individual finals and all of that. And then that's when everyone went go crazy. Throw whatever skill you've been working on. If it's ready, put it in there, do your best routine. So the difficulty, the level increases as well.
Mm.
But usually for as team, we would be safe so that we don't really end up at the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
So
It's a strategy, you know?
it's a strategy, yeah. And we would always be safe. And for finals, just everyone just goes crazy. And that was always fun to be like, oh, okay, cool. You've been working on this. Let's see how it goes. You know? So like individual finals are always funny because you see all these big skills. Some of them I catch or some of them I miss.
Yeah.
You see these guys falling and like, yeah, this is exciting. This is
You're
good.
nervous, you're alive.
Yeah, you know, you just get that feeling. It's like goosebumps, like, oh.
You
Yes.
can call yourself like a all-rounder or
Yeah, I was an all-rounder, but a terrible one because I sucked at rings.
that mean now the next question is what is the event you hate or you don't like it?
Definitely rings.
Why?
Definitely. I don't know. I just was never.
You don't feel the
I was just not that strong, you know.
It's not your cup of tea.
Definitely not. Because like everyone in the team, I was possibly either the tallest or the second tallest. Everyone else was like
more little one.
midgets.
They're like bulldogs, you know,
Yeah.
like triceps, do biceps and
Yeah.
triangles.
Yeah, and everyone in the team was like perfect all-rounders.
Yeah.
And I remember my first representation. I mean, the first time I represented South Africa, we had myself, and I was a newbie. That was my first year as a senior. It was myself, my good friend Lindo. He's like short, strong guy. And then we had Christu, who was a really good all-rounder, like a bit shorter than me. And we had Michael, he was just good at everything. And then we had Tyron, our team captain. He was, I would say maybe taller than me, but he was one of the most impossible guys. If you ever doubt yourself, he would literally pull you in like, nope, we're not doing that.
No way.
No time for doubts, gotta keep pushing, let's keep going. And yeah, I mean, that was probably one of my favorite teams. And unfortunately, we only did that one competition and because they're much older than me, so everyone was kind of like at the end of their career. Retiring, yes. So yeah, but I still kept touch with everyone. Yeah, still good friends. Yeah.
Great. What is your best memory in gymnastics?
Oh, man, that is a really, really nasty question.
We need to go deep.
Yeah, it's a nasty question. I would honestly say one of my best memories was World Championship and Commonwealth Games.
Why?
Oh man, because the first one, the World Champs, this was my first international competition outside of South Africa or Africa for that matter, and I was extremely nervous to be on the same stage as Uchimura and all of these guys, Sam Kulek, and at the time we still had Yuri Van Galda, you know, Max Whitlock and all of these guys, you know, it was overwhelming to be in the same stage as all these sub gymnasts. And for me, I was extremely nervous. And then I remembered that one of the coaches and one of the judges, we were out for dinner, I think like 2 days before, because I had a whole I had a whole training camp for like 2 weeks before we went to Belgium. And one of one of the best things that I ever heard, it's a simple thing. And this coach told me that, listen, you've done your hard work. You're gonna go out there, you do what you want to do. And keep in mind, you're an underdog. No one cares. Just get out there, do your best set, get it done. And I did get out there. I had a best competition ever, and I think I messed up floor. Yeah, I think I messed up floor. But then the funniest thing happened when we got to high bar.
Yeah.
They were like, "All right, guys, you got 5 minutes warm up. Let's go. But we're gonna warm up in order." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I look at the list. I was like, "Okay, so I am going last for competition, which means I will warm up last." And then everyone warms up, and then somehow we messed up the lineup, the warm up order. So I was like waiting there, and then they had this screen, and I'm like waiting, sitting down. I didn't even get to like touch the high bar for warm up. I had my grips off, and then the next thing, like, okay, we're starting. First gymnast, get ready. And then I looked up, and on the screen was my name.
No way.
My name was on for high bar, and I haven't warmed up.
Nothing.
Nothing. I'm cold. I'm literally cold. I'm like, oh, this is gonna suck. So
Officially today is the first.
today is the first cold routine that I'll ever have to do. And the next thing I'm like, okay, I'm in trouble now. So I get up, put my grips on, and we had Derek as our coach. He's like, come on, man, you can do it. I'm like, I didn't warm up. He's like, I know.
I know.
How did you mess it up? He's like, man, I think right now it's a bit, the time has passed to start questioning about the warm up and everything. Let's just do your best. I'm like, yeah.
And what happened?
I choked up.
Yeah.
I walked up to the platform, the podium. I looked at the judges. I almost pooped myself. I was so nervous because I was like, I don't even know how the bar feels, nothing. And then it's like, okay, let's just smash this. Saluted, got up, did my routine cold, basically nailing every move in it as best as I could. And I honestly think that for what happened, I did a lot better than I expected. Because I was like stressing myself, oh, I'm gonna miss my catch it. Oh, I'm gonna miss this. I'm not gonna be able to do my L grip giants because my shoulders are still cold. I'm worried about my dismount. I don't even know how hard the mat feels for the landing, all these little things. I was like going in my head. Got up there, did my routine, smashed it, landed with a step, and I was like, wow. I guess sometimes you just need that push.
Sometimes only you need to jump.
Yeah. And
Don't
I
prepare.
was extremely happy about that. That was one of the biggest highlights. And saluted, and even my coach was like, I was very worried that something might go wrong. And I'm like, well, we did it. And
But we don't say to the gymnasts on the word, don't warm up after that. We have on the World Cup. No, but
it was quite a strange, it was a very strange moment where I was like,
you pass forward and further the difficulty of
I just executed my routine as best as I could, and it went pretty well.
Maybe you was very focused or concentrated.
I definitely was concentrating, and I think adrenaline as well had some take on it, because I honestly think that if I was warm and had the feel of a bar and everything, plus being around these top gymnasts was already overwhelming for me, because I was like, oh my God, I'm in the same rotation as Uchimura. It's unbelievable. Yeah. But I think being mentally tough is a huge thing for a gymnast, you know, because if you can tell yourself you can push through this and you can do that, if you're mentally clear, you can definitely achieve it all.